first, I just want to sort of speak for all the viewers when I say you really subjected us to the term fingering, finger blasting, finger bang a lot in these first few episodes.
Yeah, I and it doesn't stop, and I'm sorry.
It's all Kyle's fault.
I mean, really.
I would have never used the term if he hadn't like kept repeating it.
What do you think you would have said?
I think I just would have said finger it, as gross as it is. I wouldn't have
messed around.
You said finger bang. It just grosses me out.
I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
And I just call the spade a spade.
Yeah. Like, what else do you call it? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I know, and we're moving to 9 o'clock. I don't think there's been a show at 9 o'clock with this much references to second base.
Fingering.
So, how sick are you guys of being asked about your wedding?
Not yet.
It's not so bad. You know, we get to live under a rock for a couple months.
Yeah, and we're excited about it. So it's, as overwhelming as it is planning a wedding, it's fun to still talk about.
Right. So have you guys made progress in the planning?
Yes. We've made a lot of progress since we were here last. I think about this time last year, we basically had a venue that was following through in real time. We have set a date. It's in September, and it's a fairly local venue. So we're incredibly excited. It's going to be kind of like a New York City wedding.
Yeah, and you'll see us go through some of the planning on the season.
Yeah.
Or not some of the planning.
Yeah, we basically went into the summer being like, oh, shoot, we literally have committed to spending our weekends out in the Hamptons, which is normally when you look for a venue. And so, sure enough, we actually went looking for a venue on camera. So it actually worked out.
That's nice. You guys really threw a lot at yourselves, I feel like, moving in together, getting engaged, working on this business venture together. And I honestly related so much because I always say that my husband and I never fought as much as we did when we first got engaged because
thank
you're
God.
learning so much about each other.
Yeah.
And like you make this comment that's like, well, he nags me all the time like my dad. Why would I want to have sex with him? It's like, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like you learn this different side of each other where someone has to parent the other and you're just like, what is this?
I know. I think we both do it a little bit. Like I'm organized in the sense that once things are put away, they're put away in a specific place. And if he doesn't put it back there, I'm like, but yeah, I'm definitely a little messier than I think he had hoped I would be. And
Yeah, like 10 times.
there's a lot of like,
I'm like, what? I thought you were How can someone be messy and organized? Explain that to me.
organized chaos. It's a thing.
Well, I knew we were in for a little bit of a ride when I was like, all right, let's buy a toaster. And she's like, nope, that's too much clutter on the counters. I was like, I have never not had a toaster. This is not a good sign.
In my defense, Kyle also has like 4 different coffee mechanisms on the counter that he refuses to put away. So I'm like, I can't have appliances line up on the entire counter space. I need like empty space.
That's what the counter's for.
So did you get the toaster?
No. But I'm picking my battles.
No toast for you.
No.
We have some new people in the house this season. What are your thoughts?
I think they're so much fun to have in the house. It was really great having 2 people that, kind of like weren't filled with drama. They weren't coming in trying to like stir things up. They were really just there to have a fun time, and it shows. It was really nice having Luke and Jules around.
It's actually one of my favorite parts of doing a house. I mean, for the longest time, it's how I've literally met some of my closest new friends. And it also adds like a little flair of like, what are we going to get? Because it's more often than not a friend of a friend, right? Not everyone's going to know the newbie, or shoot, maybe it's just one person, the person that brought him in. So I think it always adds an element of like surprise. And, in a perfect world, you leave with new friends.
Yeah, and I will say that even though we may or may not have always got along, but they were hands down my favorite 2 new house members out of all the summers.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Agree.
Now, I know in the first episode we get a little bit of a feud between you and Hannah and Paige. I want to know, was there something that happened off season that led to that?
Well, with our group, there's always some of that. Literally every single first weekend of filming, the producers are kind of catching up. I think for me, it was this like pent up, frustration because we were not moving along with our wedding planning, and meanwhile, like none of our friends are really asking about it, or maybe they're just tiptoeing around it. And so when we finally have a chance to kind of bring everyone up to speed, which is like, hey, we're not as far along as we'd hope, which is not really like a laughing matter. Yeah, I came in hot. I was like easily provoked. I overreacted, but I watch it back and I was like, probably wouldn't change a thing.
You're like, yep, still right.
Yeah. But on the opposite foot of that, for me, talking about wedding planning was so stressful because our venue had just fallen through. And I kind of felt like we had to start all over again. And I was tired of talking about it. I didn't want to like talk about how we failed to find a venue. Didn't want to talk about how we were like, down to the wire with picking a venue if we wanted to get married in 2020. So I was trying to avoid that conversation, and I was giggling off to the side with Hannah and Paige because I wasn't interested. And I think that bothered Kyle too. So sorry.
Well, it's also like, all right, it's our first dinner, let's kind of like learn about the newbies. Let's kind of have like we're all sitting in the dining room and, there's just all this side conversation. And I just kind of was like, the hell universe are we in?
I always wonder, as a couple, do you guys, before you start filming each season, do you kind of say to each other, all right, this is going to be the season where we don't fight and where we are going to look like an amazing couple?
Every weekend, Kyle goes out and says, Amanda, this is going to be a good weekend for us. We're going to have fun this weekend.
Oh, I talk like this. Actually, we actually had a pretty massive blowout like a couple days before day one.
Oh.
So, I mean, for us, we never like try to get in our own heads. It is what it is. We are who we are. But, every season we've, had some type of challenge we're working on.
Yeah, we don't try to be anyone else other than who we are. So if we fight, we fight. And I guess that's just us.
Are there ever conversations at night in your apartment when the cameras are down where you're just like, I can't believe you would say that on camera?
Yes.
I mean, for me, I'm slightly a little more of an open book than Amanda. And by slightly, I mean like her book's closed. Sometimes I've had to open it up. But yeah,
we're still talking about opening up the camera.
Just
not your vagina.
Yeah,
just making sure.
Yeah, it's all related.
A little bit of both. Yeah. Yeah,
It's
there's
all
some
right.
things that I'm like, do we have to talk about like every single
Right.
aspect of our life constantly? Because the moment it gets brought up, it's like you never stop talking about it. There's always going to be questions. So I'm just, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of privacy, but apparently it's not what we signed up for. So.
Yep.
I asked Kyle this earlier, but any moment that you've been like, oh, I wish I had not signed up for this?
I don't think so. I think, I don't really have any extremely regrettable moments. So I think for me, the only, no, I don't think that there's ever a moment where I'm like, I wish I never did this.
I mean, but she's also a trooper. I mean, unlike literally every single other person on our show, she kind of came in via me as opposed to like, hey, I'll go out and throw my hat in the ring and try out for casting for this show. So, she's a little more introverted than me. And, I give her a lot of credit for rolling with the punches literally from day one.
Yeah. And even some of my hardest moments during the summers, it just people really relate to it, which is nice that there's other people that are relating to even my hardest times, which, if that's what's helping other people, then I'm happy to continue being a hot mess.
Do you think, because everything happens sort of for a reason, that you would still be engaged if not for the show? And what I mean by that is just that, watching your fights back and, having people from social media give their input, like I think all those things affect who you are, maybe your growing experience.
Sure. I think, one of the biggest challenges when you do a show is, first you film it, then you're asked about it, doing like some green screen. then you watch it, and it's like this Band-Aid that just keeps getting ripped off and ripped off and ripped off.
And then everyone gives their advice and opinions.
Right. So in one instance, you know, when I had my infidelity issue that happened a year before we actually filmed, you know, we're by the time it aired, it's like a 2-year-old, you know, slip up, and constantly having to, like, you know, address that and prove to people that I've grown. That's challenging because in everyone else's mind, it just happened because it just aired.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's also a lot of pressure being a couple on any show. You know, like, I feel like viewers expect if you're a couple, like, you're perfect. You're not fighting. Like, it's in the movies. It's everything. It's just, like, happiness. And your fights, if you do have them, they're very small. But I feel like every couple on, you know, on Bravo just gets backlash from viewers because, you know, it's not how they would have handled things, or, you know, it's not how they would have done something. And all of a sudden, you know, we're not meant for each other. And that's not the case. Everyone's different. So it's tough.
But also, I mean, kind of going back to the original question, you know, would we still be engaged? I mean, I actually, as challenging as it is to relive this stuff, it's also therapeutic, particularly in the moment, right? Because you have, in some cases, producers around you that know you so well, right? And, you know, it's kind of nice having people there to bounce your thoughts off of, you know, in the heat of the moment.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as the resident couple in the house, I need to know, are you for Lindsay and Carl becoming a couple or not?
I mean, in the episode, actually, it was pretty funny. They used this little clip. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. I mean, look, they're such good friends. And my God, like, it's like, you know, fighting fire with fire in certain situations, because I just know them so well and they know each other so well that I was just worried that not only were they going to jeopardize their friendship, it was going to jeopardize literally, like, the summer for everybody.
Yeah. And if they could make it work, I think, you know, they really could balance each other out and be a good couple, an amazing couple. So I would be for it. But, you know, I feel like they know so much about each other, and they're also two very different people in maybe not the best way, that they could butt heads a lot. But if they could make it work, I mean, I would love to have another couple in the house.
Yeah, I mean, obviously now we get to see parts of our summer that we weren't there for, and seeing them interact, even in the first episode, I was like, holy shit, you know? There's some pretty raw feelings.
Real feels.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to watch their first date.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, also,
I heard
it's like
all about
in
it.
classic guy form, I get the guy version from Carl. So I'm like, all right, now what really happened?
And then I get the girl version from Lindsay and the guy version from Kyle. And I'm like, this is just not adding up.
Thank you guys so much. I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to watch this season.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. It's going to be a doozy.
Guys, we're here with Hannah Berner and Paige DeSorbo from Summer House. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Thank you for
thank
coming.
having us.
Okay, so I want to talk about Paige. You came into the season dating Perry.
Yes.
Hannah, you were seeing Armand, not official. What was it like for you guys coming into the house with somebody back home?
I feel like it was kind of nice. Like, you feel like we're living our lives during the winter. We're not just
Right.
waiting around to, like, dudes in the Hamptons in the summer to make love in the Hamptons. So, like, we were, like, proud that we had guys we're talking to, and you don't have to choose one or the other.
Right. I feel the exact same way. Like, I was a little nervous coming in because I just know how rowdy we can get.
Yeah,
But it was nice knowing, like, someone back in New York was, like, wondering what I was doing.
right.
Also, Paige had been talking to Perry the previous summer. Like, she would FaceTime him all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, who's that guy you're talking to? You guys sound like best
Like, you're
friends.
dating. And I was
Like, you're
that's
dating.
my friend. Ew.
And she's like, I wouldn't. And then
you knew him for a while, right?
Yeah, we were friends for, like, 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
so her relationship had a lot more, like,
Like, it felt
History.
it felt comfortable. It wasn't just, like, I sprung it on some random boyfriend. I was like, and I'm leaving for the whole summer.
Right.
Bye.
yeah, where I kind of did that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, see ya.
Like, I just started seeing my guy, and then I was like, and he would go to Sag Harbor sometimes, but like, your relationship was a little more sturdy.
right.
Did you feel nervous, Paige, coming in because of your history with Carl?
I actually didn't.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't a factor, really. And I feel like that's, like, a testament to my relationship with Perry. Like, any other guy I feel would be like, oh, you're going to, like, sleep in a house with, like, some guy you used to like. But it was like, oh, it's Carl.
Yeah.
And also, like, we hung out with Carl during the winter when Perry and I, like, kind of were always together. And it's normal.
And Carl was seeing Kirsten until like
Right, and, like,
January.
Yeah, and, like, Kirsten and Carl, like, came to my birthday party
Also,
in November, and it was, like, totally
I think
fine.
because you didn't have sex, that
Yeah.
That's true.
actually was a good thing.
Yeah.
You made one good decision. Good for you.
So I think you also revealed,
Keep your leg
Paige,
closed once.
you revealed that there was no penis touching.
No,
so
there was
the
none.
pantry was all just kind of like makeouts.
It was, like, so PG
Yeah.
and, like, you know, good, solid fun.
Grow
Right.
up.
Good, solid, wholesome fun in the
Wholesome
pantry.
fun. It was like a 50s movie, you know? It was just like we kissed. Because I just didn't wanna,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
Right.
Well, I don't have an explanation. Just like didn't feel
No,
like it.
no, there was an explanation. I think it's like you don't want to give yourself physically to a guy who's not giving you anything emotionally.
Right.
And you're not just trying, especially with someone in the house, you don't just want to have sex.
Why buy the
Yeah.
cow when you get the milk for free?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Mom. Moms love that
Had a
quote.
boyfriend for 1 year. I'm no mom.
All right, so season starts off too. We've got a lot of Kyle and Amanda. Have the two of them set a wedding date yet? Do you know?
Yes.
As of now?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so not good at weddings. Like I try not to get too close to people so they don't invite me to be in their bachelorette
I
party.
don't blame you.
It's more, and like I've never thought of my own wedding. So during the process I'm like, I don't know how hard it is, but you guys are having a tough time.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you expect everyone from the house to be invited?
To the wedding?
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
I don't think
Hannah's like, absolutely not.
I was like, well, I'm not going. So.
I was like, I will not be
I
there.
don't think past cast members will.
No, I think like our current friends that live in our house
Yeah.
right now. Yes, I would
We're
assume they
we're
would all be
such a
invited.
family. We're such a crazy
Yeah.
family.
I mean, everyone has like an uncle at their wedding that they don't really want to invite, but they're there.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So
Because your
Yeah.
mom makes you invite
Right.
them.
Am I that uncle?
You're the uncle, Hannah. Sorry.
you're
to
the
ruin
drunk
it.
uncle that gets handsy.
Am I hot?
So the very first sit down, the wedding comes up, and you two are giggling at the dinner, and Kyle is not pleased.
High
So
crime in our house.
why was
Yeah.
it such a touchy subject?
I think, well, first of all, let's set the scene. It's the first weekend we're back together. We're all drunk.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's an 8-person table. Like, there were a lot of conversations going on. And Kyle likes to have, like, be, like, the judge with the, what is that thing that judge
gavel?
uses?
Gavel.
Paige, look
Is
at
it?
you.
Yeah.
It sounded right. You said
Let's
it
just go
confidently.
with it,
But, like,
yeah.
he wanted
it
to
till
have
you
the
make it.
floor. And he was, like, very serious about talking about him and Amanda's wedding. And it was going on for a while. And I didn't. And when he said, most fiancés are not as involved in wedding planning as I am. Paige
She
and I,
lost it. She lost her mind.
It started with me just being like, why is no one asking about our wedding? Like, we were so excited we were together again.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was going on. And then I finally, like, let out one of those laughs. And he lost it to the point that I was like, what is actually going on? Because you can't be that mad at us. And Carl's like, you guys need to apologize. And we're like, for what?
Yeah.
Do you want me to? I laugh because I think it's ridiculous what he was saying. But like it was in a gentle way. Like we weren't like,
I thought we were having like a casual conversation.
Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't know it was like so serious. And everyone in our house has a really big problem where like if they're speaking, no one else can speak. And like we grew up in Italian households where like if
everyone
someone's
talks
talking,
at the same
that
time.
does
Right.
not
Do
matter.
you see right
at
now
all.
we're listening to each other and talking at the same
It's like
time?
we're over each other.
We multitask.
I say if I wait for you to finish speaking, that means I'm not listening to you.
Right. That's a good point.
That means I was
Absolutely.
spacing out, and then I go, that's crazy.
and it's not like we were talking at full volume to each other. We were courteous and we whispered. Like,
I mean, we were whispering, we were giggling, and like the hate that was coming. And when he slammed the table, you see me and Paige, we were giving each other looks, and it wasn't a look like, oh my God, Kyle's talking. It was looks like he's gonna snap. And this
Yeah.
is so funny that we're just trying to have fun. And I remember I kept laughing instead of crying. Like I could have cried and be like, Kyle, why are you being so mean to me? But I kept laughing because I'm like, I'm having fun tonight, and I don't care what And then they were blaming our generation. Like it's a generational thing that we were being rude or whatever, when I'm pretty sure yelling to Paige "F you" for no reason was.
And they said we were born in 93. We were born
in
90.
91 and 92.
Yeah.
First of all.
So get it right.
So get it right if you're going to be mean to me. One last thing. Clearly I'm heated about this. I'm going to be nice. Towards the end, he ends his cheer in the end of the episode going like, to being young and acting young. And I was like, that sounds like a generational thing.
Right. That's a good point. Well, I mean, I think we see in the first 2 episodes, there is some tension between Kyle and Amanda. And obviously it stems, I think, from what happened last summer.
Yeah.
So
Right.
do you think they're still dealing with some of those emotions and some of those perhaps trust issues?
Totally. I don't think like just because they got engaged, magically everything goes away.
Yeah.
I think it's just like making their commitment stronger, but like you still have to work through those issues. And I mean, Amanda probably had some like PTSD coming back in the house thinking like, oh, last summer my relationship was like blowing up.
Yeah.
And now this year, how could she not think about it?
Right.
For sure. And I think Kyle actually said it really eloquently. Like he owned up to it in the episode when he was like, these last couple months have not been easy for us, and like it should have been a walk in the park, but also it's never going to be a walk in the park.
Right.
But Amanda, she made me laugh when she was like, he makes me do chores and tells me I'm lazy. Like I don't want to my dad. But like
That made me uncomfortable.
I know her dad's hot though.
I knew
I would have sex with her dad. Her mom and I
love
laugh
Frank.
about it. We love Frank. We love Donna.
Yeah.
But we also were very close to Amanda, and you see how like I think she gets kind of in an awkward place where like she agrees with us and is mad at Kyle, but then also like she obviously loves Kyle so much.
Right.
So it was a very, very
She's always
awkward
like
first
torn.
dinner.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
What was both of your initial reactions to Carl, I believe it's referred to in the show as finger blasting
Yes.
Lindsay?
I hate that word so much.
That's the technical term.
Right.
That's the doctor
Science.
term.
That's in the dictionary, and their pictures are right there.
The
too.
Urban Dictionary,
Yeah.
at least.
We weren't as shocked. Like we knew something was going on.
Yeah.
We didn't know that would have been it.
The details of the hookup were truly terrifying because
Traumatic.
when you said in the interview, you couldn't even stop. Basically, they finger blasted, which sounds so aggressive, and I
Yeah.
hate that. But like the fact that they didn't kiss while he was blasting her with his finger was what we were freaking
and-
out about.
Right.
Like
I
that's
was
so
just-
funny to me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stop picturing it, but I didn't know what I was picturing it. Like, where was each person laying? Where were they looking? I needed
Paige,
to know details.
I would like to know more.
Yeah, I would like to know more details. But so we were just stunned.
They were like being very like cutesy. The first episode was so weird because they've
Yeah.
never been like that. They're very like buddy buddy. She yells at him for doing the same mistakes all the time.
Right.
It just seems kind of like, did he like wake up overnight and he forgot who he was? And did
It's
he wake up and
possible.
forgot who she was?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even in the first 2 episodes, while they're kind of exploring this new relationship, they keep referring to each other as best friends.
They keep saying "I love you."
Well, yeah, and so it's a little bit like,
But like
where
you
are
and
we
Perry were
going?
best friends, saying I love you.
True.
So
Whatever.
that's
Did you just call me out?
Dude, I forgot we were I mean
just like, damn,
Wow.
who's interviewing who here? I
Do we have to talk about something?
mean, well, do you think
we'll
like
talk about this later.
do you think being friends is a good way to start a relationship, or should sort of the romance come first? I mean, talk about your
Well,
experience.
also Paige and Perry started by like having a hookup, and then
Yeah.
and then they were like, it didn't work out for. I'm sorry, I don't
Yeah.
want to speak for you, but
No, I mean, you
Tell the
clearly
I was
story.
there.
were
I was with
it.
her. in
No,
spirit.
I think it's great to be like have that friend foundation. But mine and Perry's friendship was very different than like Carl and Lindsay's
Yeah.
friendship. Like Perry and I never screamed at the top of our lungs at each other. Like,
But also, you never
ever?
good.
fully dated each other, like multiple of each other's friends. Like maybe a kiss or two.
Right. And so like for them to go from like last summer to like sometimes they would like fight, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, we're gonna like finger each other, not finger
Well,
each other. Oh,
as
I
far
mean,
as
never
we know.
honestly.
I feel like Lindsay and Lauren were close, like me and you were. I mean, their relationship is different, but like it would be so weird if I was like dating Perry in 2 years.
right.
It's
The
weird,
murder that I've just witnessed in my brain.
honey.
Yeah, like no, it just like I'm not like calling Armand and being like, let's hang out.
I mean, you thought he dressed well.
he does dress well.
But my thing, even with Armand, like we started off kind of as friends, but I was always like, are we going to have sex? We're like Carl and Lindsay, I don't know if they had sexual tension. To be honest, I think they both were just at a point where they're both single and
Ready to
Something
finger.
happened. Ready to finger blast.
I was
mean,
like,
it
can someone
happened.
else finish the sentence for me?
It's like Mad Libs.
So, Paige, give us an update on what's going on with you and Perry now.
So, literally the same thing. We're still dating. We currently don't live together. We don't have plans of moving in together as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still just like, you know, getting along, figuring it out. But I'm not like rushing anything.
Yeah.
My biggest fear used to be like, oh my God, am I going to get engaged and married before 30? And I realized that that's like,
You were scared of that?
yeah, and I realized that's not a fear at all. Now my
Okay.
biggest fear is really like marrying the wrong person.
Yeah.
So I'm way more focused on that. And I feel like that's just like an age change of like maturity.
Yeah.
Like I used to think like, oh my God, if I'm not married and like
Oh, yeah.
about to have a baby by 30, I've like, that's the worst thing ever.
Right,
and I
of
realized
course.
that's like,
I think
There's
as
worse
you
things.
grow, you realize like being single is so much better than being stuck in the wrong relationship.
Yes.
absolutely. So we're
And-
just still like dating and like,
I literally
figuring
tell
it
Paige
out.
all the time, I'm like, if you're going to spend the rest of your life with him, that's a shit ton of time. There's
Right.
like no rush.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
And like Sheena freeze her eggs, you know, we can call her person, swipe
I'll like
up.
Angelina Jolie it, adopt a few kids. I'll be fine.
Oh my
Right.
God, that's so hot. Can you adopt me?
Yes.
Thank you.
I see that your nails are done, which you mentioned on the show.
Oh
He
my
warned
God.
you. He said, always
Yeah.
have your nails ready to go. So is there conversation about an engagement, or are we sort of, is that on the back burner now?
I haven't brought it up.
Okay.
I don't think there would be an engagement until we moved in together.
Okay.
And I currently am not ready to give up my adorable studio apartment where
Right.
all my clothes live. So I'm not ready to do that. So like we haven't talked about getting engaged. Even though he is 10 years older than me, I don't mean to sound like a bitch or selfish, but like not a factor in like my decision
Yeah.
making. But I definitely think about it. But like as of right now, I just enjoy like dating, living my life.
Nails painted 2020.
Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant. I was like, okay, I guess she's doing her nails in 2020. I'm an idiot.
Doesn't get it.
I
She's
was
gonna
like-
be
it
that
took
girl
me a
that
second,
posts her
too.
engagement on Instagram. Her nails are chipped. I would die.
I wouldn't
mean,
even
My
have
mom
them
would kill
painted.
me.
I would just have like my nubby little fingers biting my nail, being like,
I would comment and say
Thank you.
trash.
You would go, yikes.
That would get picked up by
Period.
comments by celebs too. It'd be like-
Shout out to Comments by Celebs. We love you.
So Hannah, you had a like little drunken heart to heart with Paige too about being like, why do you feel this pressure to
Yeah.
have this like perfect life? Because when they're asking you at dinner, you're like, everything's good, everything's great. So where do you think that pressure comes from? Is it like a generational thing?
I think that Paige and I are both type A women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also as the only girls in our family, like, did your mom go to college?
Yeah.
I mean, no, did your mom's mom go? You know what? I don't even know where that's going. My point is that like
don't
we both
know.
have strong moms who like are pushing us to like be successful, and we are very driven people.
Yeah.
And I think we both get along because we build each other up. But sometimes you want to just like be like, hey, like I'm struggling right now,
Yeah.
and I also think the show, we've gotten such positive reactions from people of being like, you guys, your friendship, or like, Paige, your outfit's just so great, or like, Hannah, you're so great at tennis. Just kidding. People get annoyed that I play tennis. Everyone's like, stop playing tennis. But it's like, when your dreams start to come true
Yeah.
and your career's going well, sometimes it actually is more pressure
Yeah.
on you.
It's also like, this is like not bad on my parents. This is like a great parenting thing. But they almost like f***ed me up in the opposite way where like they love me so much.
Yeah.
And like, even if I get out of bed in the morning, my dad's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you should run for president.
Right.
Like, did you wake up before 9 a.m.? So like, I have this unrealistic expectation
Yeah.
of like, everything I do is perfect. And so when it's not, I'm like, oh my God, who
Right.
am I?
I'm falling apart.
I'm like,
And I do think generationally, a lot of millennials have parents that are like, you're great, you could do anything. But it makes us do great things. But then it also, you have to check yourself sometimes and be like, I'm human and it's okay
Right.
that I'm not perfect.
Do you think
Right.
that pressure also stems from social media? Like, not only are you guys on the show, but there's also generationally, we're all dealing with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all
Yeah.
of those things.
yeah. And like, people say whatever they want to you. And like,
Yeah.
you know, like everyone has insecurities that you think about, and but you're like, oh, that's just me being crazy. No
Yeah.
one like sees that. I'm just being critical. And then like one person will point it out and you're like, oh my God, everyone thinks that. I was right. Like,
I knew
everyone
my fingers were weird.
Did you see when my fingers went viral? Because it was an amazing
Her
moment.
alien fingers.
It was.
Wait, what?
She has the longest,
I have
skinniest.
very long, skinny
Me
fingers.
too. I
and
always
like,
say I have alien
but against
hands.
a green screen,
they're
they were
elegant. They are elegant. That's what my mom
creepy,
says.
creepy.
But with the green screen, it literally looked like I could claw you through the TV.
It
Oh
looked
my
like
God.
scissor hands.
They're adorable.
So now
But
we're not
anyways.
friends anymore because I can't be
so
associated
like
with that.
Instagram definitely, and like you do one thing and they're like, I think you should post more of this, or I think you should. And I'm like,
Also,
why
the
don't you shut up.
Yeah, I know.
What other generation could you like know exactly what everyone else is doing at any moment? Google someone, Instagram them.
Right.
And so that comparison of like when you're feeling good, there's always someone that's doing better and whatever in your head you think better is.
Yeah.
So it's really getting the right perspective of like, I like to say we're all pieces of popcorn and we pop at different times.
Oh, I love that.
Wow,
Thank
that's
you.
I'd like to think I'm
beautiful.
still a kernel.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
I
a
have
cute
yet
little
to pop.
kernel. Exactly. And everyone, they pop at different times, even though it's the same temperature.
Right.
I'm a scientist.
I love that.
Thank you.
Sounds like the title of your autobiography.
I'm writing it. Watch out, Stassi.
Let's talk about the new cast members. What were your first impressions? Let's start with Jules. Paige.
Jules, I thought was very sweet and like cordial, nice. Very like she was quiet. Like I didn't really.
I like realized now after watching the first episode, Jules, when I met her, so bubbly, so polite,
Yeah.
so sweet. Not like she's Midwest. Like
Yeah.
it's so now because she mentioned like I'm from the Midwest and I always forget. Ohio's pretty close to the East Coast, but it's still a different vibe than
Yeah.
us where we
Yeah.
just say whatever we're thinking all the time. And she's so polite and cute, but like always down to party.
Yeah.
Dresses better than Paige, so that was awkward. And I'm just kidding.
Never.
How
would
dare
that ever
You,
occur.
Paige was nervous for a second that there was like a new friend in the house, and then she was like, whatever.
Well, she was also like a little bit obsessed with you, like in the first 2 episodes. Like at the party, she's like, "Oh my God, I love you. You're perfect."
I was jealous. I was like,
think
what's wrong with
she
me?
was just like excited to have girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had just moved here. She didn't really know anyone. And I think that her and I were the most similar in the
Yeah.
house. Like, we cared about what we were wearing. Like, we wanted to like post our outfits on Instagram. We're not like seeking out drama, but like if you had a problem with
Yeah.
either of us, like we will stand up for ourselves.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we just wanted to like chill and have
Paige
fun.
is crying, going, I'm not perfect. And Jules is like, honey, you're so perfect. You're literally perfect.
Everyone needs a friend
good
like that.
friend. Yeah. I was like, I have to cry in the bathroom for a second. And she was like, okay, I'll come. What are you wearing?
What are we wearing to the bathroom to cry?
So like we got along a lot more than I like thought we would, because I typically don't, even though I was new last year, I don't immediately like warm up to people.
She's-
Like I'm
Paige is
very
shy.
shy, which it comes off like I'm very bitchy. But really I'm just so nervous about what you think about me
Right.
that like it's like comes off like I'm very standoffish.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I have to like explain to people when Paige and I, they're like, does Paige hate me? And I'm like, oh my God, no,
She's in her head. She's
No,
like
she
a
thinks
whole
you.
nutcase.
She like you hate her.
she
Yeah.
was, she like didn't like her outfit today. It was her
That
own
will
problem.
That's ruined
That
my
will
day,
ruin a day.
multiple times. Yeah. Like when we meet someone, Hannah's like, can you like smile? I'm like, I guess.
Do you see my jeans?
Okay, first impressions of Luke. Let's start with you on this one, Hannah.
Oh, it's when Luke first walked in, I was like, okay. I was on those, I was like, this is going to be fun. Like, I love flirting. And if you're above 6'2", I don't care if you look like you got hit in the face by
A dump truck.
a dump truck.
But Luke certainly did not.
Certainly
Does
did
not.
Luke is just like a physical specimen.
Yeah.
And then he has this like weird little accent and he's kind of fun to poke fun at. And then he was like laughing at all my jokes. That's what
That's
got
what
me.
got her.
That's what got
That's
He
you.
the
was
trick.
like laughing really hard at like, honestly, my easy stuff.
Yeah, he didn't even like hear, and he was like, haha.
My
I
lowbrow
was like,
stuff.
you know what you're doing, bro. I know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
And I didn't realize it, but I watched the first episode and I was like, wow, we clocked each other hard the second he walked in.
Yeah. And there was a lot of flirtation. Even you guys went golfing and there was like still some chemistry. So how did you balance that chemistry with Luke with knowing that you had Armand back home?
I feel like
Like a champ.
That is true.
Absolute champion.
when Paige, you're so funny. Okay, I this is the thing. if you're not, I'm not married. I wasn't exclusive with Armand, but it was a
Right.
guy I'd been talking to, and I wanted to see where the relationship was going. But if there's chemistry, like smacking you in the face with someone else, you're not gonna like ignore it.
Right,
Armand,
it's not a crime to talk to two guys. There's a whole TV show about 25 girls wanting to get a rose.
Yeah.
like
That's
it's
true.
not a crime
But
to
also,
like talk to multiple people.
if I was like making out with him or having sex with him, that's a different thing. I was kind of just exploring it and having fun with it. Because also, this is New York City.
Yeah.
Like, I flirt with every single dude that looks at me.
yeah,
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
just like a hobby.
She's not dead. She's
No.
dating.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is dating. But I like to tell people I'm seeing someone because like I was working on that relationship with
It
Armand.
sounds so PG. Like she's going with him. you
Yeah,
know?
we were
Like
going
our-
steady.
Yeah.
Did you report back to Armand like what was going on? Were you
I
like, "There's a
actually
new guy
was very
here"?
upfront because he was like,
Okay.
"How was the
Hey,
weekend?"
by the way, there's this really hot guy I'm probably gonna have sex with. What's up?
Are
with
you down for a threesome? Like, let me know.
Yeah, what are
I
you
remember
doing?
being like, yeah, this guy, he's flirting with me so much.
Just gets so annoying.
I was like, I keep being like, stop, keep going, stop. But I was like, yeah, this new guy, he's cute, he's fun. Because also I'm like, Armand, step it up. You know,
Yeah,
like
that's true.
Like, because that's life never stops just because you're dating someone. Life
Right.
keeps going. Hot
Right.
guys slide in your DMs all the time.
all the time. I'm like, you're testing me, bro. You are really testing
The
me right
universe
now.
is testing me. But it's true. And when you're with the right person, you're not going to get distracted by like a hot dude. And
Yeah.
I believe that.
I agree.
Did you get distracted, Paige, by Luke at all? Was there a moment you were like, wait a minute?
I feel like we
I can
appreciated him like an art.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I can appreciate a hot guy. Like when he took his shirt off, I was like, okay, like I definitely
You're not
looked.
dead.
I'm not blind. But he's actually not my type. Like I don't typically go for like blonde hair, Midwest. Like that's so Hannah.
Yeah.
You know, like and he was like very nice to Hannah and like, you know, just was like, whatever, I'm down with whatever. And I like someone who's like a little bit obnoxious, like
Okay.
Carl. I like someone who walks in, like causes a real like crazy scene.
We have the opposite taste in dudes, and I say
Yeah, we
like
do.
that's why we actually get along so well.
That's
like
true.
I just like tall, like
She doesn't even care what he's
Actually,
saying.
I
She likes
don't
tall.
care.
That's
Yeah,
tall.
she
That's the
likes
requirement.
tall.
I like blue eyes, and I tend to go towards like I like a guy that looks like you take a punch,
Yeah, and I
big.
like a guy who's like kind of like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
and you like him a little pretty but hairy.
Yeah, I love like a Persian.
We're describing Carl
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I know Carl was so weird. Carl was tall, but then like Carl and I butt heads sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, to wrap up, let's actually play a little game called Marry, Kill.
Okay.
We're not going to use Kyle because like he's engaged, it's the whole thing, like Amanda, whatever.
Yeah.
This is for both of you.
Okay.
Jordan, Carl, and Luke.
Uh-huh.
Paige.
Oh God.
Wow.
Jesus. Lord have mercy on our souls.
Oh my god, so hard.
Mary
I'm
kill.
I'm f***ing Luke.
Okay.
I'm killing Jordan.
Okay.
Sad. Do I marry? I guess I'm
Oh.
marrying Carl.
I guess
I
you are.
feel like he'd be really nice though, like if we were married.
Right.
And I feel like he'd be a good dad. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna marry Carl.
Okay. Hannah.
Oh gosh. Okay. A lot of emotions happening.
Yeah, it's like a lot to take in.
Yeah, I would.
You'd marry-
I'd have sex with Carl
yeah.
because like he's tall, and
a
I
whole
tell him
sweaty
just
mess, though.
not to talk. So much sweat.
Just FYI.
We
Yeah.
sweat so much,
It'd
but
be
like
so aggressive.
Carl's handsome
Yeah.
when he's not being annoying, and I would kill Jordan, even though I feel like we're good friends, but like I need a little bit of hotness in the bedroom, and I feel like we don't have any sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
And Luke and I actually are like, we're very good at like downtime together. Like we can chill for hours, just
Mhm.
like
And not
me
speak.
staring at him.
Right. It's more than that.
Like so,
Yeah.
and so I would marry Luke. Ew.
I only listen to Luke like when he's talking and his shirt is off. Like
Yeah.
if it's on, I'm like, I don't care.
He would
Yeah, like
literally
what?
come up to
I
us at the pool and we'd be
have
like,
no
"Why is
reason.
your shirt on?"
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "How are you guys doing?" We're like, "Why is your shirt on?"
Take it off.
And 30 minutes later, we're like, "Your shirt's still on. We don't know what's happening."
All right. Thank you guys so much
Thank
for coming
you. This was
in.
so
Thank
fun.
you.
We're so excited for a new season.
Oh my God. Thank you.